The following program is sponsored by the Building Wisconsin Television Network.
Welcome to Building Wisconsin. I'm Stuart Keith, and on today's show, well, we're visiting the Wisconsin Operating Engineers Training Facility here in Coloma. So let's get started with their president, Terry McGowan. Wow, Terry, this is a real antique.
And it's another testament to how our industry is advanced, Stu. This is a 3/4 swing backhoe made by Austin Weston. It's 1930s vintage, and if you look here, you'll see it's an Austin Weston tractor that they mounted on a frame.
Just a regular old farm tractor.
Just a regular farm tractor. These 3/4 swings used to be stationary, but what they did, as you can see, this is the axle where the tractor tire would ordinarily go.
Sure.
And they put a track underneath here, a carriage, and now it's mobile.
Wow. And so this is from the 1930s. And you know, throughout all the shows we do, we like to talk about how an industry continues to evolve.
Yes.
When you look at this and you see how they've evolved into the modern machinery, it really is remarkable.
It makes us proud, Stu, because we don't sit back on our laurels. We just keep making things better.
Wow, and you know, this is an example of how the machinery within the industry evolves. But we're out at the training facility here in Coloma for the operating engineers, and the evolution here is amazing. I'm so excited to showcase it to our viewers, how over the 40 years, what it's become.
I'm excited to show you, Stu, because we came here in 1976, almost 40 years ago. When I was the training director here in 95, there wasn't one patch of asphalt on here. We had simply this small little section that we used to teach classes in during the course of the winter, and a small shop where we used to fix equipment. We've been here since 1976, almost 40 years now. And Stu, when you take into consideration that we in our trade have been teaching people and passing our trade on through generations for over 100 years, this is a testament to our organization. You're going to be excited when you see what we've got now.
And what impresses me most, and the message I want to get out to the viewership, is that the members pay for this facility and their training.
They do. And we went to the membership 2 years ago and said we need an indoor training facility because of the harsh winters in Wisconsin. And our membership stepped forward over the past 2 years. They've allocated an additional 20 cents an hour to help build that indoor training facility.
And ultimately, that's going to, sure, help them. It's going to help their employers. But at the end of the day, it's really going to help the residents of Wisconsin with quality roads, bridges, everything that operating engineers do.
Absolutely. And the better they are at their craft, the more hours they're going to get throughout the year. Because let's face it, the construction season in Wisconsin can be quite short at times.
Sure, and so now they have an indoor training facility that's heated. They can learn year-round. I'm anxious to learn more about it and what it takes to become a Wisconsin operating engineer. So let's get at it.
All right. So this is where it starts, Stu. This is one of the classrooms in our new building. This is actually a new wing that our membership sponsored and built so that young people can come into our apprenticeship and learn in the classroom before they actually become an operating engineer.
And I find it fascinating that there's classrooms here. It really is like a college setting. And to become an operating engineer in Wisconsin, is there an apprenticeship program?
There's an apprenticeship program. It's a 4-pay period program, so it's a minimum of 4 years if you go through the whole thing. 6,000 hours that you have to log, and we get reports back, OJT cards, that tell us how these apprentices are performing out in the field, and we track them to make sure, see if they have any weaknesses that we can work on or getting any bad habits that we can correct.
And so they're always constantly honing their skills. And when I look around here, there must be room for 30 students here. How many of these classrooms do you have?
We have about 15 throughout our entire complex.
Wow, so how many operating engineers or potential operating engineers go through this facility?
Well, right now our apprenticeship program is carrying close to 500 apprentices throughout the state. Last year, we logged 6,000 seats in the classroom That includes apprentices, and it includes journey workers that come here for skill improvement.
6,000 workers. And of course, this is summertime now, so they're out working, but it's fair to say this is a pretty bustling facility in the winter months?
Oh, it's busy. It's very busy. And the thing is, they all come here, and we provide a lunch for them. We also provide a little bit of stipend to help defray the economic burden of being away from home and staying in a hotel room. We get good deals from the people here in the community for hotel rooms and lodging.
Boy, it sounds almost too good to be true, but it's here in Coloma. It's just great. And my favorite part of all is that there's no state funding here. Again, it's just mind-boggling to me that this goes on. It's paid for by your members.
Much to the credit of our members. They contribute through the hours that they put in and the rest of the membership that sponsors them. And by the time they finish their apprenticeship program, they have the equivalency of an associate's degree. Our membership step forward. They know that you have to advance. The industry advances. You have to stay. You have to keep abreast of it. The operating engineer of today is completely different than the operating engineer of 20 years ago.
Again, an example of the evolution of the industry. Now, in a classroom setting, what is an operating engineer learning?
Well, they're learning slopes, they learn geometry, they brush up on all their maths and their tables. You can see right here there was a timed exercise that was going on with our apprentices. A lot of people don't realize how they can apply math. When they're in school, you say, well, what am I learning this for? How am I ever going to use this?
Sure.
Even in our trade, in the construction trade, math is essential.
Sure. Math, geometry. How about, talking of evolution, computers, GPSs, all the latest technology?
Yeah, actually the operating engineers in the state of Wisconsin are one of the leaders in training for GPS guidance systems. We've been training it for well over 10 years now. We've got automated systems. We actually have the ability to take an existing plan, convert it over on CAD, and bring it out in the field so that they can utilize it like a real actual setting on a construction site.
You know, Terry, when I first thought of operating engineers, I was thinking of our roads and bridges, and I'm learning that it's much more encompassing than that, including welding. Look at this brand new welding shop.
Yeah, we've got 7 welding booths here, Stu, and welding is very important to the operating engineers because, well, first off, everything we run is iron. And if that iron is fatigued or it shows signs of cracks, we want to be able to repair it or fix it ourselves. Now, we also claim a lot of the mechanical positions that are out there in the field right now. And we want to make sure if we've got a mechanic or an apprentice that wants to learn how to be a mechanic, that they know the proper way to weld.
Really, because that's part of their day-to-day activity. If they're the mechanic out there and something breaks down, as you mentioned earlier at the simulators, time is money. Every minute that machine isn't running is costing the contractor money.
That's right, and they've got to fix it right so that you're not going back and trying to refix, or somebody's got to come behind you and repair what you already did. So we want to make sure that they do it properly. And as you can see, Stu, these are fully equipped welding booths, every one of them. We've got gas torches, MIG, TIG, wire. Everything you want to do is right here in these booths, and we're going to be able to train. As far as our members want to learn about welding, we're going to be able to take them.
Well, I'm just blown away by this facility. I just can't help but imagine how much a facility like this would cost if it were a technical college on taxpayer dollars. And I get asked by so many viewers, they're like, is that really true? There's no tax funding coming here? And I'm like, no, these operating engineers are spending their hard-earned dollars for the betterment of the industry.
They are, and everything that our operating engineers, our entire membership puts into this, they're doing it for the entire industry and for the taxpayers of Wisconsin.
Okay, this is one very large area. What are they learning here?
Well, this is the shop area, Stu. We built a complete shop with 5 different crane bay areas. It's got exhaust hoods, and you can see the one large 10-ton overhead crane that we've got in the center. Now that serves 2 purposes. First, we can manipulate very large pieces of iron as it's in the shop, but that's also built to spec so that we can certify an overhead crane operator on a turbine deck in a powerhouse. If they've got a shutdown, we can send a certified overhead crane operator to go in there and run that overhead crane to replace that turbine.
Wow, Terry, this area is huge.
This is the centerpiece of our new addition, Stu. This is our indoor training facility. It's 180 feet by 300 feet. The ceiling goes 70 feet in the air. And you can tell that by the walls, they're battered. These concrete walls are solid concrete, far into the ground. I believe they extend 8 feet down in the ground, and the wall gets thicker and thicker so that a student would never be able to fracture or compromise the integrity of the structure.
And again, this is a training facility, and accidents happen in training. They might bump into something. You've thought of everything. You're not going to have to worry about it.
We thought of everything. We've got infrared heat up here. These infrared heaters start up at night. They heat the ground, they heat the iron on the equipment that's in here, because once we start up the equipment, we start training. We fire up these 8 air exchangers on the roof. Those 8 air exchangers replace the air in this facility every 5 minutes.
Oh, that's amazing. What's this big sock here?
That big sock brings in the fresh air. Now this is bringing cold air in from outside, but with the infrared heat, the ground is going to be warm and the equipment you're running is going to be warm. The engineers figure this facility should not go below 60 degrees during the dead of winter in Wisconsin.
Wow, that's incredible. So it's going to be very comfortable for the ops to learn in here. And is that really the impetus for building this, is because of our inclement weather in the wintertime?
It really is, Stu. I mean, our people work in below zero weather, but we don't like to put our iron through that. Nobody likes to put their iron out in weather that cold. So typically what our students would do when they were here is sit in the classroom watching videos and going over books, but you really don't learn about heavy equipment operations unless you're in a seat actually doing it.
And so this is real world situations. It's big enough that they can work on a plethora of different situations that they would encounter out on the job site, and they don't have to worry about being cold. And to me, if I'm an op learning here, this would make it so much fun, enjoyable. I'd feel pretty excited leaving here, getting out there.
That's exactly what we want, Stu. We want our students to feel excited. We want them to come here, get the experience, and when they leave here, we want them to get right back in a seat and get back to work. We make them as comfortable as possible. We take everything serious here, Stu. I mean, we've got the cafeteria, we've got a world-class kitchen. We're making a good meal for these people to eat in the middle of the day, and we're sending them off, and hopefully we have them enthused and encouraged about our trade, our craft, our industry, and our future.
Wow, Terry, standing next to this 644K high lift gives you a perspective to the magnitude of this facility. I mean, this is a huge piece of equipment in my opinion, but it's dwarfed inside of this volume.
Kind of like a toy in a sandbox, isn't it?
Boy, it certainly is. Where would you find a piece of equipment like this in the ops?
This would commonly be used on a road crew or a sewer crew. You would see this running back and forth, doing mass excavation or handling material.
Sure, and again, the perspective here is just mind-boggling. And to me, growing up as a kid, this is what I always dreamed of doing, you know, playing in a sandbox like this. That's what a lot of the ops get to do, in my opinion. Get out there, have fun at what they're doing.
You know, that's really good for recruiting, Stu. We like people to think that way. But in reality, this is our university. This is such a serious campus. I mean, it's like a university to us, and this is our commitment to the industry, to our membership, and to our future.
Sure, and it makes sense, and we're fortunate to have it here. Now, where do you get most of your equipment that I look around here and throughout this facility?
Well, everything you see in here, Stu, was bought by the membership of the operating engineers. This is all our equipment. However, during the training season, we do partner with our employers, and they bring equipment onto this site. They know that we are going to take care of it. They know that we are responsible trainers, and that we're going to put somebody in there who's prepared to be in the seat. And when they get the equipment back, we run it through our shop and we give it the best maintenance that you possibly have. We take it right back out to the job site and deliver it to the employer.
Boy, I bet they're happy to have that peace of mind for them that it's not going to get damaged here. It's going to be returned in condition better than they provided it to you. And most importantly, the membership here is trained properly and competently on that piece of equipment, so they can rest assured they're not going to damage it out in the real world.
For a lot of those employers that give us equipment, a lot of the students are their employees, and they know that we're giving them a better product, not just their equipment, but their employees come back better, improved, and more knowledgeable.
And you know, so far in today's show, we're talking about this being a campus, and it really is a campus setting. That said, this indoor training facility is adjacent to classrooms. Do you find that to be advantageous?
It is. In fact, it was by design, because we've got the observation deck up top, if you'll see up there with the railing, where an instructor can take his students out and they can observe equipment actually working down here inside the facility.
Oh, cool. And again, don't have to bundle up in our harsh Wisconsin winters and go outside to learn. A more comfortable learning environment. I know studies have shown that they produce a better end result, being, in this case, the operating engineers.
Sometimes, Stu, it's hard to concentrate on what you're learning when all you can think about is how cold you are.
Sure.
So this makes it a little more relaxed.
Now, Terry, over here, what type of equipment is this?
This is an excavator, Stu. We take our students out and teach them how to dig, excavate and dig safely. There's a right way and a wrong way. If somebody's going to be working inside of that excavation or that trench, we want that thing to be dug right so that nobody gets hurt or, worse, killed.
Well, you know, what I'm learning is that the operating engineers are tied into so many, if not all, major construction projects. And so you're trying to teach them here all the different facets, all the different situations they might encounter before they get out in the real world.
Oh, absolutely. And that's on every piece of equipment, Stu. Again, here's an excavator. Before we were looking at the wheel loader, we're looking at the crane. This, of course, is a Wisconsin-based case excavator.
Sure.
And it's also equipped with automated systems under GPS.
Oh, so is that what the mast is here?
That's what the mast is.
And I know I've seen GPS-guided systems on the bulldozers as well.
Yes, you know, in today's technology, what we've done is morphed computer technology and automated systems with our trade. And that goes back to what we said before about how far our trade's advanced. When this thing gets within tenths or even hundredths of grade, they can switch it over and the GPS system will take over, and you won't need a grade person to tell you that you got to shave another inch off or you got to throw another inch back.
That is amazing, and I got to believe that helps create a better end result on any project.
It does. And when you're talking about miles of roadway, and you're talking about being a few hundredths off on the material that you're putting down, that costs the taxpayers a lot of money.
Sure.
With these GPS systems, we're cutting costs on highway production, and the bill for the taxpayers becomes smaller.
Wow, and you know, as impressive as that is, as impressive as this indoor campus is, I've had the opportunity to tour your 400 plus acres here. I'm even more blown away out there at the real world situations that you can create to, again, help train the operating engineers.
And the more real world we make them, Stu, the better product that we turn out in our members. Because we've got them out there working with carpenters, pile drivers, laborers. We've got sewer and water projects going. We've got bridge building projects going. We've got vertical construction. We've got Wisconsin DOT spec roads being built out in our 400 acres.
And do you find working with the other trades there, this is a great place for them to learn to work together?
Oh, absolutely. And not only that, we're teaching them to watch out for each other. Because in our trade, there's nothing worse than hearing that one of our own didn't make it home that night to their family. We want them home to their family at night. We want them in one piece, whether it's an operating engineer, laborer, carpenter, iron worker. We all got to watch out for each other. So this integrated training with other crafts here at our site, we're very proud and we're very happy to host these training exercises.
And I'm happy to hear that safety is at the forefront. And, you know, having the opportunity to tour the new facility, this truly is a hidden gem in our great state. But at the end of the day, it still blows my mind that it's all funded by the operating engineers. No tax dollars, just the members themselves.
This is the Operating Engineer University.
Well, if there is someone interested in attending, interested in becoming a member of the Wisconsin Operating Engineers, how do they find out more information?
Just go to our website, Stu. We're always looking for somebody who's serious, who's qualified, and who's as enthused about our trade and our industry as we are. And I would welcome them to go to our website and drop us a line.
Well, I appreciate you coming on today's show and sharing it with us.
Well, thank you, Stu. It's been my pleasure.
A bridge is going up in Green Bay, and Tim Butler is ready for work. A foreman for almost 20 years, Tim is one of thousands of highly trained construction workers strengthening Wisconsin's infrastructure. It's a tough job building the roads, bridges, and schools we all rely on. To get it done right, these workers count on a fair local market wage delivered by Wisconsin's prevailing wage law. Critics of the law believe targeting blue-collar paychecks is the best way to lower the cost of public works. But labor is a small part of any project's final bill, and it keeps getting smaller. The money spent on blue-collar wages and benefits has fallen steadily over the last 40 years, from 33% of total costs to as low as 20%. And Tim's paycheck is part of that shrinking percentage. It provides for family, covers training and insurance, pays for lodging when he works far from home, and pays the bills when winter shuts down his worksite. A fair paycheck may not have a big impact on construction costs, but it means everything to Tim and to his work. That's because wages have a dramatic effect on how well construction gets done. Simply put, you get what you pay for. And Wisconsin taxpayers get some of the most cost-effective workers in the nation. Each of our street, highway, and bridge workers contributes an incredible $184,000 in economic value to Wisconsin every year, ranking us third in value added per worker nationwide. And when compared to the productivity of workers in 18 non-prevailing wage states, Wisconsin construction crews outperform the competition in every arena. We owe that productivity to our prevailing wage law. It keeps skilled workers on the job, and their value to taxpayers is easy to measure. In fact, the demand for well-trained workers like Tim is rising. The construction industry is expected to grow by more than 20% over the next 10 years. But without prevailing wage, our state may not be ready to grow with it. You see, 3 out of every 5 construction openings in the region require an associate's degree or apprenticeship. But only 1 in every 15 unemployed workers has the training they need. Creating jobs for Wisconsin means keeping prevailing wage. With it, construction workers pay their own way, helping to cover 95% of the industry's training costs each year. Repeal it, and research shows apprenticeship training will drop by up to 38% or more. And what happens next isn't pretty. Right now, non-prevailing wage states like Georgia are struggling to keep up. They're out of skilled workers, and they're asking taxpayers to foot the bill for training and guest worker programs to fill the gap. Luckily, that's not Wisconsin. Here, we offer workers a fair local rate for a day's work. We invest in a productive, self-sustaining, skilled workforce and a thriving middle class. And we're building a safer, stronger infrastructure, one that's cost-effective for everyone. That's Wisconsin's prevailing wage law at work. Together, we're building a stronger Wisconsin.
Welcome back to Building Wisconsin. I'm Stuart Keith, and so far in today's show, we've been touring the Wisconsin Operating Engineers Training Campus near Coloma. Now let's catch up with State Representative Rob Call to get his take on what a training facility like this means to our state. Well, Rob, it looks like a lot of activity here, but nothing compared to tomorrow when they have a grand opening.
No, this is going to be very exciting tomorrow. It's exciting for me to be here. We're pretty lucky as taxpayers. Not every state can say that. A lot of states, they've got to fund their training program for the construction trades through their tech schools. We are so fortunate here in the state that the operators, the carpenters, other trades, the members put their own money into these schools and fund this. So we as taxpayers get all the benefit and don't have to pay for it.
Sure, the building trades are really, in my opinion, responsible for our quality of life here, the high quality of life here that we enjoy in the state of Wisconsin.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the streets in front of your house, your public schools, et cetera, that's these men and women that are building those things. We have a real high quality of life, and that's because the dedication of these hard-working men and women who are really committed to making sure Wisconsin's built and built right.
So really, as a former mayor and a current state representative, what does a facility like this, really a training campus, mean to the state of Wisconsin?
Well, it means an incredible amount of resources for us. It means we have a qualified, skilled workforce, which is essential for us to build our infrastructure in this state. First of all, we don't have to pay for it. That's great.
Yeah.
But we've got now this talent pool on call because of what they do here. They train the people. They then are on call when our contractors in the state need resources, need people, and know when they are called and they show up, they are going to have the skill set to perform the work that's essential to building that bridge or building that high-rise or building that school.
Sure, and you know, the big thing with the operating engineers, and all the trades for that matter, when I talk to them, they're happy to make a good living, but more importantly to them, in their hearts, they truly believe that they are doing good for the state, and they're proud of what they build.
There's a lot of pride, and proud is the main term that you just used there that always strikes me, that when you talk to these men and women of the construction trades, they're so proud of what they're doing, so proud of what they're building. They love to show their family and friends that school building, that bridge, that road they built, and it's something that is a source of pride for them, and that means for us as residents and taxpayers, when they take so much pride in their work, they're doing a really, really good job when they build those things, so we're getting a great value.
Sure, and great value. It's cost effective to me, even though in the media you see, oh, it's $100 or $200 or $500 million project.
Yeah.
It's still good value when you break it down. And these are Wisconsinites building most of it. They're our friends, our family, our neighbors right here. Let's keep them here because they are highly trained, highly skilled.
It's good value, and they're making a fair living, doing a job that a lot of people, including myself, wouldn't go out and do. You got to spend a lot of time away from your family. You got to work out in some tough elements. I mean, this is Wisconsin. And so they're doing that, they're willing to do that, they're committed to doing that to make life better for all of us in this state. And they do it at a rate that when you look at all the data out there from Federal Highway Administration or others, they're more efficient than any of our counterparts. They get more built for the dollars we put in. You know, we pay so much for a mile of road that is much less than a lot of our counterparts because of their efficiency and their work ethic.
Yeah, and a lot of it's because of a training facility or a training, really, as Terry McGowan said, the operating engineer university. I mean, it really is. And what I hear time and time again from parents is, oh, they got to go to college, they got to go to university. Yeah. This is really a college. The only difference is you don't have to pay for it up front because this is all funded by the operating engineer.
Yeah, you've been around here. This is a campus. Yes. And you know, you don't have to pay tuition here. You pay some nominal costs for some room and board, but really who pays for it? The current members. So we as taxpayers, again, get this huge benefit that we don't have to pay for this, but these guys take so much pride, they don't want our money. They want to pay for it themselves, fund their own school, run their own school, and it really is a campus, like you said, and it really is an avenue that hopefully more and more young men and women in high school start looking at as a career alternative. Look, this is a career out of the gate. You can make $40,000 plus benefits and not have $1 of student loan. Because when you go to train at a place like this, they pay for that training. You don't really pay much out of your pocket to go here to get that training. It's amazing.
It's remarkable.
The members are the ones who pay for the next generation because they know when those guys get in here, they're going to pay it forward too. So you come out of here with a great living fairly quickly, and you can continue to learn, obviously, and you don't have any student loans. So this is a story that needs to be told. There's guidance counselors, parents that need to understand it, and these young students, these young men and women throughout the state need to know there's an opportunity here.
And you know, another thing I learned is it's really a partnership between labor and management or the contractors out there working together. And I'd hate to see the state step in and try to meddle with that, because if this ever went away, I gotta believe the costs would be astronomical for the state to build and run a facility.
Well,
like
this goes away, and we as a state have to pick it up. You know, the private sector usually they can run something like this for $5 million a year. Let's assume it's going to take the state $10 million a year. Let's be honest.
Yeah, sure.
And that doesn't even count all the equipment they own and all the equipment on loan from the companies these guys work for. They gladly lend them equipment because it helps in that whole training partnership. Well, they're not going to probably do that with the state. You know, so we really have a fragile system here that works really well. But we at the state have been doing some things to tinker with it that make me a little concerned, like prevailing wage repeal or reform, as they've called it. Well, you know, these guys make a fair living, and they take that money and put it into this school. We started tinkering with that system that's been around for 100 years, and we're really going to open up the door to potential changes that are not going to be beneficial to the state. We've seen it happen in other states. We are so fortunate here, so hopefully politicians start to realize that we've got this great partnership, this great educational system. We're really lucky to have this workforce and these folks. And you know, the operators have been around for over 115, 120 years, I think, somewhere in there. Sure. And this is why, because they know what they're doing and they're really good at it. We just need at the state level to be better partners with them and make sure that they are successful for another 100 years.
Well, let's hope that we can keep it going and enjoy the high quality of life we all value here in Wisconsin. Thanks for coming on today's show.
I appreciate the time, Stu.
The preceding program was sponsored by the Building Wisconsin Television Network.